welcome everyone to the Gold and Silver Club end of week commodities review for the 21st of January 2015, presented by myself, Phil Carr, and Nick Kelsey at the Gold and Silver Club. So today, of course, we'll be reviewing the latest developments in the commodities markets. We'll be analysing the week's performance. The live session will be covering an overview of the commodities markets, the top trades of the week. We'll be covering live commentary and technical analysis, and of course we'll be answering any questions you may have too. So before we get started, I'm Phil Carr, professional trader, trainer and speaker. I'm the co-founder and the director of the Gold and Silver Club. I specialise in teaching people how to make money from trading the most lucrative financial markets in the world. So gold, silver, oil, natural gas, the agricultural commodities. I have trained thousands of individuals to become independent traders and successfully manage their own investment portfolio. Also responsible for the research and the development of the Gold and Silver Club trademark strategies that have a proven track record of generating returns for traders, and a regular contributor to a number of financial publications, speaking at numerous trading seminars, webinars and workshops. Joining me in running the Gold and Silver Club is Nick Kelsey, professional trader, investment analyst and speaker. Nick began his career within private wealth management in 2002 before making the transition into proprietary trading. And prior to co-founding the Gold and Silver Club, spent several years coaching professional fund managers and traders internationally for some of the world's top-tier hedge funds and investment banks. And through his first-hand relationship with some of the world's most successful traders, discovered the formula, mindset and tools that can give any individual the definitive edge to trade in any economy. Also regularly writes for a number of global business and financial publications, and we've appeared frequently on financial television. So that's just a bit of background on the Gold and Silver Club. Gold price at the moment, we're currently trading at $1,293 an ounce, just off the highs yesterday, which was $1,306 an ounce. So we'll take a look at the technicals very shortly as well. The top trades of the week using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategies are as follows. First of all, we had a lovely breakout trade this week on gold, a 390 point trade. The risk on the trade was $1,200 US risk for $3,900 profit for a 3-to-1. We then had a platinum breakout this week as well for 270 points. So the risk on the trade, 90 points, $900 risk for each lot traded for a profit of $2,700 for a 3-to-1 risk reward. And we also had a nice quick day trade opportunity on WTI crude oil just earlier on in the week for a risk of 90 points, $900 risk for a profit of $1,900, 190 points for a 2-to-1. Okay, so those are some of the top trades that we've had over this week. So what we'll do now, we'll just move over to the technicals here. And we'll start off with having a look at the gold market. So, of course, we had big news yesterday from Europe with the European Central Bank releasing their quantitative easing program. 60 billion euros per month will be released, exceeding 1 trillion until September 2016. So 60 billions worth of debt every single month. So on this news, we saw the euro sell off significantly. We saw the dollar index, US dollar breakout, and we saw a nice supportive move in gold. We had a nice breakout to the upside. And we'll take a look at gold right now. You can see, in fact, gold at the moment, we are just trading towards the upper end of a resistance channel here, consolidating just under $1,300 an ounce here. So gold's just waiting. We've also got some key announcements into the weekend and next week as well. We have the Greek elections this weekend, and we also have next week the FOMC statement on Wednesday, which both cause a lot of volatility expect volatility in gold, particularly with the FOMC next week in the US dollar index as well. So we'll be watching those very carefully. In terms of what you can expect next here on gold, we've got two likely scenarios. Either we may get some profit taking today and just a move back down to the lower end of the trend channel here, taking gold back to around the 1280 level, or we could get a breakout. If we can break above the 1306 level from yesterday, we may get a nice move back up to the next key resistance there, which is sitting about 1325. So if we do get a breakout from this consolidation, we're currently following a very clear trend channel at the moment for gold, and gold just taking a bit of a pause after yesterday's ECB announcement here. Now let me bring you over to the US dollar index. Huge breakout we had yesterday. The US dollar index is now trading at 11-year highs. So we've had a very significant breakout in the US dollar on yesterday's ECB announcement. You can see here, in fact, our trend channels here have all broken out to the upside. There's been some beautiful breakouts here on the US dollar as we continue to reach 11-year highs here at the moment. So we've had an incredible move on the US dollar, which is halting the gold breakout slightly at the moment. If we move over and have a look at the silver market, silver, we discussed on last week's webinar, we were looking for a breakout trade, and we did in fact get a really good trade last week. We just had a breakout from the 1721 level, 1820, so we've had at least a dollar move, 100-point move over the last week here for silver. Silver also consolidating near resistance. It's holding on to its gains pretty well here, very close to the 1850 level. So again, silver will be very interesting and probably likely to consolidate today. But if we get a break above the weekly highs here, if we can just get a pop above the 1850 level, we're likely just to shoot up here to the 1875 to $19 an ounce level. So I would keep an eye on silver as well. Silver's looking very interesting. Palladium, another market to keep an eye on. Palladium, we did get quite a significant sell-off last week. We found support at the lower end of the trend channel here. You can see we're just consolidating around this trend line, and we're looking potentially for a pop to the upside here. Got a nice little V-shaped reversal pattern which is developing here on Palladium as well. So we're keeping an eye on this for a potential breakout move to the upside. So that's one to watch definitely with Palladium. With the platinum market, we've also had a nice breakout. So you're seeing here that across the metals market, we've had a decent move over the last week. You can see here we've had another breakout above a major level here, 1,258, and we've just popped up to the upside. Nice 270-point move, consolidating again, possibly before we move higher here and we get a break above the 1290 to 1300 level, which we haven't really seen those levels breached since about October last year. So we'll be looking for the potential for a breakout above that zone or a consolidation around 1250. At the moment, we're moving between 1250 to the 1285 zone on platinum. If we move across and just have a look at the energies, we'll have a look at light sweet crude oil. So again here, light sweet crude oil still consolidating. We've had a few days of consolidation. Overall, you can see the overall trend remains bearish at the moment for light sweet crude oil and Brent crude oil as well. You can see this very clearly in terms of the technicals here. We did have some breaking news today, of course, that Saudi King Abdullah's death today. So that has seen, we saw during the Asian Pacific session a pop up to the upside actually with oil overnight, but we've since come back down again, mainly due to the news which has alluded to the fact that Saudi Arabia's new king is expected to continue a policy of keeping oil output steady to drive out rival producers. So we may see just a continuation to the downside at the moment. We did see a temporary blip this morning, but we may have continued downside here for oil. We can see certainly technically we remain in a downward trend and there's no reason to be buying oil at this stage, okay? If we move over to, so we still continue to sell oil. We'll just move over to the grains. We've had some lovely move in the grains over the last week. We continue to be in a downward trend on corn, wheat and soybeans, and there are opportunities to get into this overall sell. You can see at the moment corn market is breaking down again. Came up to the upper end of the channel here. We're getting a continuation and a breakdown just this morning. If we can just get a breakdown of the weekly lows here, we're likely to get more downside here as well. So keep an eye on sell short opportunities in the grain market. We've also had a nice breakdown this week on wheat. Wheat just continues to be in a downward trend and consolidating slowly but surely, moving lower here. And also the soybean market, we broke down again this week and we're looking for further downside here. Across all the agricultural markets, well, mainly the grains at the moment, soybeans has neared 3-month lows. Corn set for a second weekly drop here. Soybeans ticked down on Friday to near their lowest since late October, and we're on track for a second week of decline under pressure from forecasts of record output from Brazil. Okay, so we've seen a similar situation also this week on the coffee market. Coffee's given back most of its gains here from 2015. You can see a complete reversal after we had a huge surge in the first couple of weeks of the year. Coffee's now given back all of its gains. It's sitting at a key support zone here. You can see that at 159. If it does break below this level, gets a close below this level, it could really start to ramp up to the downside here for coffee. So we'll be watching out for more sell short opportunities there. But certainly the overall grain market is looking weak right now and providing us with plenty of opportunities. Okay, so I'm just going to put it back onto gold, and I'm going to go through any additional questions. I'm just going to be quiet for about the next 30 seconds to 1 minute, as some of you may have additional questions you want to ask. So if there are any additional questions, do post those now, okay? Okay, great. So some good questions coming through. Just regarding, right, gold price in euros. So I'll just talk you through what we're seeing today, okay? So there's two main forces at play at the moment with the gold technicals. So the first is the 1,311 zone at the moment. So that appears to be a very strong resistance for gold right now. We can see we've tested that several times this week. We've had a failed close above that level. We continue to consolidate, currently at $1,295 an ounce. Okay, so the second fact is that the dollar has broken out to 11-year highs here. So you can see gold price in dollars is currently struggling to get much higher here. However, gold price in euros has had a huge breakout over the last few days. Okay, so the dollar rose 0.3% against the basket of currencies, making the dollar gold more expensive for holders of other currencies. Euro price gold was trading at 1,142 euros an ounce, and it actually hit 1,150 euros an ounce overnight, its highest since April 2013. So the ECB stimulus plan, along with expectations of high US interest rates, would translate to a firmer dollar this year. Okay, so it's likely to weigh on the gold market later in the year. Remember, the QE program will be in force from March onwards. Investors will be eyeing next week's US Federal Reserve policy meeting. Of course, that will be on Wednesday, with clues on the timing of the rate hike this year. The Fed is expected to repeat the global risks that have thrown the US recovery. They look to throw the US recovery, and looking at a potential for a rate hike, whether that will still remain on track despite central banks cutting rates and ramping up stimulus. So we'll definitely, that is one for your diary next week. Wednesday's FOMC announcement will be very important for the next move for gold, the US dollar. In fact, I'll talk about that very shortly, because we'll be trading that live with all of our traders at the Gold and Silver Club. The global uncertainty at the moment, so we've got the Greek elections at the weekend, and of course we've got the FOMC next Wednesday. The overall chart pattern is still consolidating. There is potential for gold to go higher here, breaking out up to the $1,320 and $1,350 an ounce level. These are possible upside targets, okay, if gold can continue to break out to the upside. So we'll have to see how gold closes today and how it's going to look as we enter next week, and particularly on the FOMC announcement on Wednesday as well. So what I'll do now, I'll just talk you guys through how you can actually find out more about next Wednesday's FOMC. Very simple enrollment, okay? So all you need to do to enroll is just go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, complete the enrollment form, and we'll get in touch with you ASAP, okay? So with that, we are anticipating another exciting week next week. This week has certainly been a lucrative trading week. So for those of you getting in touch, we look forward to hear from you. And I wish everybody a great weekend. Good trading, guys, and we'll definitely see you all on the next one. Okay, take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Bye-bye.